Symbols are flexible and easy to create in Illustrator. They'll make updating artwork easier than ever. Let's create some symbols so you have a better understanding of how they work. I'm beginning this video with the createsymbols.ai file already open on my computer. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in down here in the lower left quadrant of this artwork. Because what I'd like to do is show you how we can create symbols out of the tents, the sailboats, and the shark fins as well. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and come up here, and I'm going to click on one of these tent groups to select it. And I'm going to open up my symbols panel. Now you can see that we have a couple of symbols that have already been created here. But to create a symbol, it really couldn't get much easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this artwork, and I'm actually just going to drag it and drop it into the symbols panel. Now, when I create a new symbol, I get some options that I can choose. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is give this a name. So I'm going to give this a name of tent. And you could choose the type of symbol that you're going to create. Now, the type of symbol is not really relevant inside of Illustrator, but what this will do is streamline the creation of artwork if you're going to move this over into Adobe Flash. So same goes for the registration point. Now, enable guides for 9-slice scaling is a technique for scaling symbols that will help you to enlarge or reduce the symbol, but maintain the overall edges of the symbol. And then if you wanted to, if you're creating this content for the web, you can have this artwork aligned to the pixel grid inside of Illustrator as well. So I'm going to leave these options at their defaults. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And you can see that we now have a new symbol that has been created. Now, this first item that I dragged over there is now a symbol. If I zoom in on this, we can see that this has a slightly different appearance. We can see the registration point. But if we click on this content, you can see that this is not a symbol. So what I'm going to do is to add a symbol, I'm just going to drag a symbol out here. And I'm going to scale this one down just a little bit. And then I'm going to position this on top. Maybe I didn't have to scale that one so much. But you can scale it as you need. And then I'll go ahead and slide that over. And then what I can do is I can just temporarily hide this symbol. So I'll just go to the Object menu and choose Hide Selection, which is Command 3 on Mac or Control 3 on Windows. And then I'm going to delete that symbol. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that process. I'm going to pull a new symbol out. This one I have to make a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to position that on top. And usually you're not trying to match existing artwork either. And again, I'll go ahead and hide this symbol then. That's pretty good. So we'll go ahead and hide that. I'll delete this one, and then I'll go to Object, Show All, and that'll show those symbols that I hid. So these are now all symbols. I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to come down here to the sailboats, and contrary to what these look like, these sailboats are actually filled with white. Or should be filled with white, I should say. But there's an overlay of this object over top, which is giving it a tint. So I'm going to drag this over, add that to the symbols panel. I'm going to call this sailboat. Go ahead and click OK. This is now a symbol. I'm going to drag a new one out. Scale this one down. And I'll just go ahead and delete this one, and we'll move this one into its place. Now, last but not least, let's do the shark fins. So I'll go ahead and drag this into the symbols panel. And we'll click OK. So that one's already a symbol. I'm going to drag a new one out. Delete that one. And then I'll drag another one out for this one. Now, in this example, you might be saying, well, we need another symbol for the one going the other way. But that's not exactly the case because I can just flip this one very easily. So I can just go to Object, Transform, and I can choose Reflect and choose what angle I want to reflect it on. So I'll choose vertical and choose OK. The other option, if you're not as critical about keeping the proportions, you can just drag one of these side handles and flip it like that. So easy enough to do. So now that we have our symbols created, we're good to go. So the example that I want to use here is, okay, now all these pieces of artwork are symbols and we want to update their color. So let's go ahead and make an edit. So over here in the Symbols panel, I'll go ahead and double click on the tent. Go ahead and zoom in here. And I'm simply going to select this color. And I have some colors in the swatches panel that we can use. This is going to use this light brown color. Same thing goes for the flag, for both the stroke and the fill. And then this section is going to use the medium color, not the stroke, but the fill. And then this one is going to use the darker brown, so that one's right here. And I'm using the direct selection tool just so I can isolate the different sections. And if I exit out of symbol editing mode using that left arrow or by pressing escape on my keyboard, we should see that this artwork, where the tents are, have now been updated. All of the symbols now look exactly the way we want them to. Now this time what I'll do to edit the symbol is I'm going to actually double click directly on one of the symbol instances. This is going to do the exact same thing. It even gives me a little warning. So go ahead and click OK. And now I can select all of these magenta components right now. And I'm going to use this light blue color over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. Actually, let's go ahead and apply white to that. So go ahead and change that to white. And now if I just press escape on my keyboard, we can see that both instances have updated. Let's do this one more time. Let's go ahead and double click on one of the instances. Let's go ahead and change the color of the shark fin. This is going to use this dark blue color up here. So I'll just go ahead and apply that. Hit escape. And now all of my instances have been updated. So when creating your own artwork that contains repetitive elements that you'd like to update efficiently, remember that symbols are definitely the way to go.